we have 15 over here assigned to d.id, after which we call change.id, in which case the id is changed to 10 and the change is reflected in the caller function. So now the question is, Java passed by value or passed by reference? Well, the answer still remains the same, that is Java is passed by value and never passed by reference. So even though this example demonstrates us that Java is passed by reference, but no, we will stick to our original answer that Java is passed by value. Now let's try and give an explanation to this. Now suppose we have a caller function, and inside the caller function obviously the call is made to the called function, so something like this, a dot called function. Now we have two cases: either we pass a primitive data type as a parameter, or we pass references. And when I say references, I mean classes, instances of classes. So let's just map out our two cases. We have either we can pass something like int, double, float, boolean, something like that, which are all primitive data types, or we can pass classes like employee, which we will write employee classes, or dummy class as we saw in our previous example, or let's say the string class which is provided by Java internally, or something like the thread class or an exception class or anything like that. So we have two cases. So in the first case, it is quite simple and straightforward that when we are passing a primitive data type, a copy is passed. So if we have our called function over here, let's have our called function int x. So in this case, x is a copy of a. Let's just mark that down. X is a copy of A. X is a copy of B. What is B? B is nothing but something we are trying to pass over here. So let's just call it int B is equal to 10. So in this case, X is a copy of B. Now, if X is a copy of B, any changes made in X will live only through this function. The scope of these changes that you're going to perform on X will only live throughout this function. That's it. After which the changes die. It is garbage collected. So if we do anything over here, like x is 40 and then x is equal to x plus plus or something like that, the changes will remain only over here. That's it. They don't go back. Now obviously our second case, as we saw in our dummy program, that the changes are reflected in the caller function. So how is that happening? Let's have a look. So a few modifications, and this is what it looks like. We have dummy b is equal to new dummy, a.call function, and pass b. So after passing b, x will take the value of b. So let's just change that over here as well. It will no longer be int. X will now be a dummy object. So we'll have dummy x. After doing that, if we do x.id is equal to 40, the changes are visible over here. Now why exactly is this happening? The suspense is killing me, right? Okay, let's find out. So Java remains to be passed by value. And when we are passing references, we are not passing references actually, we are passing the value of the references. Please note this, like I'm going to make it really bold and dark and something like this, that Java is passed by value, and when you're passing references like instances, you're passing value of the references. This is your interview answer, value of the reference. I hope you get it. Let me just type it out so you guys don't miss it. So we are passing value of references. All right, let's proceed. So when I say value of references, what exactly is happening? Value of references. So let's say a reference is nothing but a memory location. So when I say dummy d is equal to new dummy, let's just assume that this d over here is holding nothing else but a memory location. And when it is passed from function to function, the value, the copy of that memory location is passed on from function to function. So if this is the memory location that d is pointing to, and when we pass it to another function, as we did in our previous program, we did x is equal, so we had x in the receiving end, so x also points to the same memory location. And if I make changes inside the called function, that is I do something like x.id is equal to 40, this statement will translate to x, the memory location that x holds, so it's over here, this memory location, and the id of that particular memory location, because we know that this memory location is nothing but a dummy object, and if it is a dummy object, it must have an id field. So x.id translates to the memory location held by x, the id belonging to that memory location, change it to 40. And if this is what happens when we go back to our caller function, this change over here, x finishes off, x is gone, x is out of the picture, but still d is pointing to the same memory location, and since the change was made in another function, this change persists in the caller function. And this is exactly why Java is still passed by value, because you're passing the value of the reference. So to sum up our discussion, Java is always pass by value, never pass by reference, and in such cases we are actually passing the value of the references, and yes, Java is pass by value. So let's put up our question, is Java pass by value? And your answer will always be yes, Java is pass by value and it is never pass by reference. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much. Keep watching.